What up, my cousins? In today's video, I just want to talk about why I prefer the old head way of playing the game. For starters, to me, the old head way is just a little more fun because it emphasizes fun over winning. And the only reason I say that is because all the younger cats that I've ever, hooped with or talked to about, just playing the game, they kind of share a similar mentality that they'd rather win than have fun. So, and which is crazy to me, but for them everything is about winning. I was talking to a kid, and I was asking him. I was like, "Bro, how do you hold up?" That's my man right there. He found out he found out I was recording it for YouTube. Okay. He won't shout himself out.
Look at that, look at that, look at that. Mouse in the house. Oh, mouse in the house. That's cool.
But we have fun, you know what I'm saying? And but yeah, I was talking to the younger cat, man, and I was saying, bro, how do you just pay money for this game to just sit in a corner and watch somebody dribble the whole time? He's like, I don't care. I don't care about having fun. I just want to win. I was like, what? That's crazy to me. Like, bro, you paid $60 for the game plus the work to put in your mind player, the money you spent on VC, and you don't even care about having fun. You just want to win. I'm like, that's crazy for me. But most of the old heads I run into are, the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like me. I'm not about to play on anybody's team where I just got to stand still or just watch somebody, dribble for the entire shot clock. I can't do that. That's just not fun to me at all. I don't care if I ever win a game. If that's how I gotta play to win, I'm not doing it. Also, man, with a lot of those guys, and you'll see later on in this kind of video, you'll see a clip where some guys ran from us, but a lot of the times, the guys that run, they're younger cats. The old heads, I don't see too many old heads running at the park. It takes us the longest time to get games at the park, man. Like we pretty much gave up on playing at the park. And I'm usually running with two other dudes, and we're all three was the superstar threes. But I mean, we get elites run from us. Everybody run from us. Like, why? I mean, and then I'm like, man, it's so difficult to get a game. I'm like, oh God, I've yet to run into a lot of old heads that are ducking at the park. So another thing about the old head playstyle, I'm not saying the old heads have a higher IQ. But I think old heads have a higher, I think most old heads have a higher basketball IQ. And I emphasize basketball because there's a difference between basketball IQ and 2K IQ. Because 2K is a video game. It is not real life. It is supposed to be a sim of real basketball, but it's not. There's a lot of things that I do in 2K that I would never do in real life basketball. But just in my experience, the old heads are just, they're funner because they make the higher IQ basketball plays instead of the higher IQ 2K plays. And then, sometimes you do get a lot of those, like I can play 2K and I can play basketball. So, you get a lot of old heads that are balanced like that, but for the most part, they make the higher IQ basketball play, and that is fun to me. I don't really like the higher IQ 2K plays as much because a lot of them are exploits and, just not smart basketball, but it works for the video game, you know what I mean? For example, right? There's a lot of times where I know the shooting in this game is very easy. Well, for me, it's very easy. And there be times, man, when I'm on a break and I'll just stop and pull up for a three. I know it's going in. Like the chance of that three going in is very, very high. I would never do that in real basketball. I would never do that. But that's what I mean by the difference between high basketball IQ versus high 2K IQ. The old heads are more they're getting rebounds, they're kicking it out. Nobody on the team is just really standing around just watching. People are setting off-ball screens. They're cutting back door. The ball's moving a lot. You're not just relying on one guy to create all the offense for you. There's a lot of teamwork involved, right? And a lot of communication involved too. But another thing about old heads is that we get so excited over these little things, you know, like all I play with is old heads, really. I mean, the youngest dude I play with is like, you know, late 20s. And that's the, you know, crazy guy you heard talking earlier. But I don't know. I just prefer to play with guys who aren't using a lot of exploits, and they're fun to watch, fun to be in the team with, you know, because like I'll play against some guys and they're just spamming dribble moves that don't even make sense, and they'll even have me beat in a turnaround, or they just out there just randomly with no control, and I'm not going out there to guard that nonsense. You know, they put it's they're calling nonsense because I mean, sometimes they're just doing it in the deep, and like I'm really nowhere near them guarding it. They're just doing dribble moves. I'm like, who are you trying to cross over? I'm not going out there, yo. And they exerting all this energy and to do nothing. So I'm like, okay, it's just not fun to play against. It's so boring. So I'd actually rather play not just with or run with old heads as my teammates. I'd rather only play against old heads if I had a choice. You know, it's a much funner game. It's satisfying beating teams that, you know, that cheese, no doubt. But I'd rather play against old heads and also play on a team with old heads. And it's nothing against the younger guys. It's just not for me. It's not my style, you know. So, you know, do what you do if you play that way. You know, we even named our program team like Old Heads for Life or something like that. Because a lot of the teams we play, dudes, they can tell that we're old heads. Like, we get messages all the time because of the way we play. But, you know, we don't get beat that often. And if somebody's beat, if most of the time if a team beats us, it's because they are exploiting something, or like, you know, cheese-wise, or they're just a really good team. But we don't lose often. And a lot of times you'll see me put up, you know, clips from the rec. I hate going to the rec with a squad, but of course the pro-am is broken. Every time we get to pro, we have to reset a new team, and because we can't get any games, it takes forever to get a game once you turn pro and all that nonsense. So it's just annoying to deal with. So we just go to the rec and just hoop there. I mean, I hate it because I hate going in there and kind of just beating up on randoms. But I mean, a lot of times there are a lot of squads in rec, so we run into a lot of squads. And a lot of people playing zone and running 2-3s, you know, running 2-3s and playing 5 out in the rec. And I'm like, okay. Another thing that I really like about the old head style is the sportsmanship, right? A lot of old heads are mature, so you know they don't do a lot of trolling and all that weird stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like the party invites and talking all that weird. It's just, I don't know, like young, it's just doing a lot of weird stuff. But a lot of old heads just ain't into all that. We just kind of want to play the game and chill out. You know, we play with a lot of randoms too. I play with my squad a lot, but I play with a lot of randoms, especially at the park. I go to the park by myself and run with randoms all the time. You know, you don't see that a lot too. Old heads do that a lot. You know, we'll run with randoms. I mean, you know, we don't really care. You know, I don't care about win percentage and all that nonsense. I'll play with randoms. I'll play with whoever. I go into the rec sometime by myself and just kind of do my thing. But most of the time, if I'm going into the rec, I will take 1 or 2 of my guys with me, simply because we run into a lot of trolls, you know, inside the rec, and that's just annoying to deal with. But yeah, sportsmanship. You know, the old heads don't really do a lot of icing people out, you know, in the park or whenever they run with randoms, rec, park, wherever. They don't do a lot of icing people out and stuff like that, unless, you know, you're just a bad teammate, you know, you're not playing defense, you know, things like that. You don't get a lot of that icing people out and trolling and stuff from old heads. So sportsmanship is kind of better, in my opinion, too. And I'm not bashing, you know, other play styles, you know, do you think? But I do think that there are a lot more old heads that play this game than you might think. You gotta think about it, you know, this game, we started playing 2K, you know, the original 2K. A lot of us didn't stop, you know, like a lot of us didn't stop. We're a generation that was raised on video games, so we will probably continue to play video games until we're 50, 60 years old, probably. You know what I mean? But I think there's definitely a lot more old heads on this game than you think, and I've met some cool dudes out here, man. But anyway, that's just kind of what I want to hit on today. Just why I prefer the old head method of play. You know, if there's any guys out there that's trying to run As you can see, my gamer tag is Legacy on Xbox. Hit me up, man. I don't mind running with anybody or whoever. Just play some defense, you know, don't be selfish, and we can get some runs in, man. If it's your first time on the channel, go ahead and like, you know, share the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, you know, oh, also, I will be posting a lot more consistently once 2K21 drops, so be on the lookout for that, you know. Appreciate the love. Until next time, peace.